Welcome to SAP CRM Technical Training. In this training, we are going to cover SAP CRM technical content, majorly focusing on Web Client User Interface or Web UI in short. In this session, we will see a brief introduction on what is SAP CRM, why do we use SAP CRM, and versions we have in SAP CRM. Also, we will take a look at the content we are going to cover as a part of this training. So when we talk about business in general, in today's challenging environment, best run companies are staying focused on their most valuable assets, which are nothing but their customers. So companies seek to retain their best customers and maximize the effectiveness of every customer interaction, whether it's sales, service, or marketing in which they are involved. So SAP Customer Relationship Management, in short SAP CRM, is a comprehensive solution for managing your customer relationships. It supports all customer-focused business areas from marketing to sales and service, as well as customer interaction channels such as Interaction Center, Internet, and mobile clients. SAP Customer Relationship Management or SAP CRM in short is a part of SAP Business Suit from 2009. SAP CRM not only helps you address your short-term imperatives like to reduce cost and increase your decision-making ability, but also help your company achieve differentiated capabilities in order to compete effectively over the long term. So when we look at the different versions of SAP CRM product, SAP had started with CRM 2.0 in early 2000s and then released 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 and 6.0, and the latest is 7.0. You might get confused sometimes when you hear CRM 2007. CRM 2007 is nothing but 6.0 version. It is released in 2007. It has two names, SAP CRM 2007 or 6.0. So both are equal. SAP CRM 2007 is released in 2007, and from this version SAP GUI is discontinued for end users, which means end users are not supposed to use the SAP GUI or login pad for doing their day-to-day activities. And SAP CRM 7.0, which is released as a part of SAP Business Suit 7.0 in 2009, encompasses a major enhancements in the Web UI framework. From 2009, delivery model of SAP products has changed and they started releasing enhancement packages to deliver new functionalities, which means the enhancement package provides new and improved software functionality that you can implement in a modular fashion. There's no need to run a major upgrade project for implementing a new business functionality, and you can keep your core software stable while you activate only the new features and the technical improvements you want to, that too on your own timetable to add most value to your business. For few business functionalities introduced through enhancement packages, we also have a switch which can be used to activate or deactivate this functionality. Keeping that apart, to understand any product, we need a good documentation which is provided by SAP through help.sap.com. SAP CRM Documentation offers a comprehensive description of the functional scope of SAP CRM and highlights the relationship between application and underlying technologies. We will have a look at how do we navigate in help.sap.com to reach SAP CRM Documentation now. So you open help.sap.com in a browser, then you can click on SAP Business Suite. As I told you, SAP CRM is a part of SAP Business Suite, so you need to click on SAP Business Suite to navigate. Then once you reach SAP Business Suite, you would see SAP CRM or SAP Customer Relationship Management here. So click on SAP Customer Relationship Management. Once you click on SAP Customer Relationship Management and scroll a bit, you would be able to see the different versions available in SAP CRM for which the documentation is provided. So you don't see CRM 2.0, 3.0 and 4.0 as SAP has stopped supporting these versions. So now if you look at the versions available here, you have SAP 5.0, and as I told you 6.0 is also known as CRM 2007 and 7.0. After 7.0 they have EHP 1 or enhancement package 1, then enhancement package 2, And then recently in January we have a version released for HANA, which is also known as CRM on HANA. So for that they have released a separate version. So for the normal CRM we have enhancement package 2 as the latest version. So you can click on enhancement package 2 for SAP CRM 7.2 and scroll down. Here you will find all the documentation related to this particular version. You can see different sections over here, out of which we have what's new, which gives us the release note and the improvements and innovations with this particular product. Then we have the installation and upgrade information, which provides us the master guide, the upgrade guide and the installation guide, which helps the technical consultants, the functional consultants and the basis people to understand what is required for this version of SAP CRM. Then the configuration and deployment information, which also helps the functional team and the basis team to understand how to configure and deploy the application. We also have security guide, which helps us to understand the information required for security of your SAP CRM system. Then the system administration and maintenance information, which is helpful for the administration department or the basis team. Then we have the application help, which is majorly used by the technical team and the functional team to understand what functionality is delivered in the standard product. Then we have the integration and analytics information, where we can find the information related to the integration of SAP CRM with other products. Then we have the additional information related to the product availability matrix or the sizing and the e-learnings on this particular version. So if you see the URL on the top, you see that help.sap.com/crm702, which is for EHP2. Likewise, you can type in 701 to get the documentation related to EHP1. You can type 70 to get the documentation related to 7.0 and 2007 to get the documentation related to 6.0. So once you reach this page, to get the application help, you need to click on the application help link. You have application help in English and German, so you can click the link which is for the documentation in English. So once you click this link, it will take you to the application help, where you find the different menu items on the left hand side, using which you can navigate and find out the documentation related to that particular subject area. Here you also see something called SAP CRM for industries. Though SAP CRM covers most of the functionalities, there are few industries where they need a specific functionality which might not be covered as a part of the standard SAP CRM product. So for these industries, they require additional product and service capabilities to suit their own requirements, and this is where we have industry solutions coming into picture, where they help us to get the functionalities which are used by that particular industry majorly. So this is about looking at the documentation which we have for SAP CRM. Now we will go ahead and look at the content we are going to cover as a part of this training. We have divided the content majorly into 10 subdivisions. The first one being Introduction to SAP CRM and Structure of Web Client UI. As a part of this section, we would see what are the prerequisites to open Web UI, how to navigate in Web UI, the different terminology involved in terms of Web UI. Then we have the role concept. So here we will look at the business role concept and its significance in SAP CRM. Then we have a section on enhancing and customizing the navigation bar, where we would look at how to configure the navigation bar and what are the different possibilities of adding work centers or deactivating them, the concept of logical links, work center group links, direct links, etc. We will also look at the transaction launcher concept. Then coming to customizing work area, here we would be covering the customization which we can do in the work area screen, where the end users actually work on. Then we have a section on enhancing work area. This section majorly covers the AET tool, which is majorly used in SAP CRM to enhance or add custom fields. Then we have a section on Web Client UI framework, which covers the basics of framework, the BSP programming model, tag libraries and the model browser. Then we have a section on componentation within CRM 7.0 and its architecture. So here we cover the major basic concepts of WebUI framework, wherein we will cover the MVC design pattern and how it is realized in SAP CRM. Also the componentation and the reuse concept of components. We'll also look at different terminologies like view, viewset, window, component, custom controller, etc. We will also look at the runtime repository and also the hierarchy of different standard classes which are used in terms of UI design. Next we have a section on enhancing existing UI components, which is majorly talking about how we enhance the standard components delivered by SAP in the standard product and why it is required. Then we have a section on generic interaction layer, which is known as GENIL in short. So here we will see what is GENIL object model and different types of objects in GENIL model. What are the important classes involved in GENIL model? How to build a sample GENIL model? What are the important interfaces involved in building the GENIL model? How to build a GENIL model from scratch. Then we have a section on business object layer, which is also known as BOL in short. So here we will look at the inner details of BOL programming, where you will get the details of how to access BOL entities, collections, how to work with them, what is transaction context, what are the different methods available in BOL programming, how to lock or access a BOL entity, how to create a root object, etc. Once we are done with this section, we would have all the knowledge required to work on SAP CRM, but we would cover more topics in the tips and tricks section, where you would get to know different wizards which we have in the latest versions, how to do debugging, how to see data in debugging, how to find out a message source when you get a particular message on the UI, and different other practical examples, including how to do extensions using baddies. You would also get introduced to one of the important forum where we can improve our knowledge, which is known as SCN or SAP Community Network, which is known as SDN or SAP Developer Network before last year, and last year they have started this new name which is known as SCN, and the community has improved a lot. Particularly SAP CRM forum is always active in SCN, so we would look at how to navigate in SCN and how to find out the respective places which are required to work on SAP CRM, and we would focus on how to look at the documents which are available there and what documents we need to look at and all that. As a part of this course, apart from what we have seen right now, we will also cover EWB tool, which is known as Easy Enhancement Workbench, and basics of middleware. We would go ahead and see the introduction to CRM in this session. So as I had mentioned, SAP CRM is a part of SAP Business Suite. So what is this Business Suite? The SAP Business Suite is a suite of business applications to enable companies to manage the entire value chain. The solutions in SAP Business Suite are open and flexible, supporting databases, applications, operating systems and hardware platforms from most of the vendors. It basically consists of the following SAP solutions: the SAP ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning Software, SAP CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management, then SAP SCM, which is Supply Chain Management, then SAP PLM, which stands for Product Lifecycle Management, SAP SRM, which stands for Supplier Relationship Management. So all these runs on SAP NetWeaver platform, which is the basis for running all these products. So coming back to what is CRM. So in daily business, various departments like marketing, sales and service interact directly and regularly with customers. From a software point of view, these employees need to have support to fulfill their daily tasks in an efficient and customer oriented way. So the SAP CRM software supports the major modules, which are marketing, sales and service. So for any product which you are going to sell to a customer, you start with doing the marketing for that product, then do the sales and then do the support after the sales. So this is the kind of life cycle which we follow for a particular product, and when it comes to customer, we interact with customer for every life cycle of this particular product. So it's very important to have a software which can show us the holistic view of all the interactions which are done with that particular customer, so that whenever a new employee interacts with the customer, he doesn't feel like he is doing it for the first time, wherein he has all the information which is gathered for all the interactions which the company has done with this customer. This is where the CRM software adds the value to the business and acts as a medium through which employees can communicate effectively to the customers. As I had mentioned earlier, in addition to the standard product, to fulfill the different requirements of various industries, example for media, utilities, pharmaceuticals, public sector, telecommunications, high tech, SAP CRM provides multiple industry specific scenarios and customizing options as well. So coming to the major modules which we have in SAP CRM, which are marketing, sales and service. So we will look at each module and what key features does it provide as a part of the product. So when we take marketing, it provides the key processes such as campaign management, customer segmentation, lead management, e-marketing, trade promotion management, which is also known as TPM, and marketing planning and analytics. So with all these features, it provides a comprehensive marketing functionality for automating the planning, execution and measurement of marketing efforts. And apart from these major modules, we also have an analytics module, which is kind of sub module for all these three modules, which is available across the modules and helps us in analyzing different functions and results as a part of the marketing, sales and service modules. So talking about the key features or key processes available in sales, we have customer order management, quotations and contracts, account and contact management, opportunity management, pipeline analysis, activity management, commissions and incentives, sales planning and analytics. So these are the key features provided as a part of sales. Then coming to service, the key processes provided as a part of standard service module are service request, service order and contract administration, complaint management, case management, install base management, knowledge management, workflow and escalation management, workforce management and service planning and analytics. So now we have seen all the modules which are part of standard SAP CRM product. Within CRM environment, due to the different requirements and process of various industries that are existing and supported, different interaction channels with customers are required. So we have multiple channels employees through which the employee of the company can communicate with the customers of the company. The major channels which we have are back office, where employees are provided with a personalized and web-based access which offers a single point of entry for all relevant tasks in marketing, sales and service. And it also integrates all the systems that are relevant for an employee within a single user interface. Then we have field service or offline user channel, where various field applications offer everywhere and anytime access to the required information and process of field service employees. So this is basically used by who do the sales or marketing on a mobile basis, which is the general scenario which happens in sales and marketing. Even in service, we have something called field service, where the engineer has to come to the place of the customer where the part is installed and has to do the service. The other channel is interaction center, where the users can have the interaction with customers along with the integration with telephony and email. So this provides a good interface wherein users can do all their work at single place. Then we have web channel management, which offers a complete e-marketing, e-commerce and e-service platform with personalized, convenient and consistent 24/7 support to the customers. Then we also have a partner channel management, where partners can collaborate and resell the products which are sold by the company. Partner channel management is an application which is a combination of web channel management and traditional CRM, which is generally used by the resellers or dealers or agents who help in improving the business of the company. So the channels which we have discussed till now can be divided into mobile, web channel, interaction center and partner channel, out of which mobile is an application which is based on .NET and it is having a separate development tool to enhance the product. Likewise, web channel is again another channel wherein the application is based on JSP and struts before, and now it is based on JSF. It is also having a different tool called NWDS wherein the development takes place, and an infrastructure called NWDA which takes care of hosting the application. Then we have interaction center, which is the channel which is based on web UI, which we are going to look at through our course. We also have a channel called partner channel, which is a combination of web channel and web UI. So this is a kind of channel where few functionalities are implemented in web UI and few are implemented in web channel. So in this training we are going to cover the interaction center web client application. Why it is called as interaction center is, in 5.0 when SAP has come up with this particular technology, they have built only the interaction center application, which is also known as call center application in web client framework. So that's the reason it has got a name which is IC web client framework or interaction center web client framework. So with CRM 2007 or 6.0, SAP has come up with the entire application in this framework and they started calling it as CRM web UI or CRM web client. Later SAP had felt that this framework, which is built and enhanced a lot, and SAP had already invested a lot on this, was well received by customers, and then SAP had extended the framework and made it a cross application component, which means it is not specific to CRM now. The component is available in ECC as well. So the framework component which is built for web UI is also available in ECC from EHP 4. Reason being, the framework which is built is a very good framework, and SAP had thought if customers want to use this framework, they can use it to build their own custom applications in ECC as well. So it's not CRM specific now, so it's available in other products as well. That's the reason now the naming of CRM web client has changed to SAP web client. So now it's more generalized framework which is available even in ECC. So that's the reason they call it SAP web client nowadays. As we are already talking about the history of SAP user interface technologies, in CRM, when SAP had started with CRM product, the user interface technology used was SAP GUI, which is also known as SAP graphical user interface, and then they have come up with PCUI, which is also known as people centric user interface in 4.0 version, and then with web client in 5.0, which is also known as IC web client then, and after that you know the history, like now it is called as CRM web client, and they have also transformed it to a SAP web client. So this is the history of user interface technology, which had underwent a major transformation and a lot of innovation which took place into this particular framework. There is a lot of difference between 7.0 and EHP1. When we talk about the framework, there are a lot of major enhancements done in terms of UI component workbench. So now we will look at the different user interface technologies which are existing in SAP. So when we talk about that, the major different user interface technologies which are available are WEB Dynpro and BSP in the current scenario. So you see that we see WEB Dynpro ABAP here, Floor Plan Manager and BSPs. So WEB Dynpro ABAP is the recent technology which is used by SAP, and as we have discussed, this is the technology which is used in all the other products except SAP CRM. And Floor Plan Manager is basically an advanced feature of WEB Dynpro. Using Floor Plan Manager, we can build the UI very quickly. Then coming to BSPs. So BSPs are the ABAP counterparts for Java server pages. So basically you can compare BSPs with JSPs or ASPs. The technology or the way it is coded is similar to them. The scripting language which we use here can be either ABAP or JavaScript. So as this is server-side script, we have access to all the function modules, classes, system variables, etc., which we normally have in ABAP. So when we compare BSP and WEB Dynpro, both are basically used for building enterprise web applications. So what is the difference between these two? The main difference is the UI technology which is used. In WEB Dynpro, you don't have the flexibility to do any client-side scripting. So the technology which is used over there is completely ABAP based, and the output which is rendered in WEB Dynpro is only based on ABAP. Whereas in BSPs, you have a flexibility to do client-side scripting. You can insert HTML in between your code. You can insert JavaScript, ABAP as a scripting languages. This gives you the flexibility to modify the layout in any way. Whereas in WEB Dynpro, we don't have that much flexibility to modify the layout. Also, BSP supports both stateful and stateless applications, whereas WEB Dynpro only supports stateful application. The advantages of BSP is it is more flexible, so it can be used to build applications where you need a pixel perfect screen. Whereas when it comes to cons of BSPs, you need to understand HTML sometimes, CSS, JavaScript, and ABAP, because you can combine all these in BSPs. The development times of BSPs are generally more than the development times in WEB Dynpros. Coming to WEB Dynpro, most of the things in WEB Dynpro are done using wizards, so that's one of the advantage. As we discussed, the disadvantage is it's not flexible. You cannot do any scripting in WEB Dynpro. As a result of that, you cannot modify the layout drastically. So that's the main limitation which we have in WEB Dynpro ABAP. Also, as it doesn't allow client-side validation, every request has to go to server. As a result of it, it might cause a bit more performance hit on the application. So both have their own pros and cons. And SAP CRM is using BSPs as the underlying technology. But the cons which we discussed, the more time in development and the different other things of understanding HTML, everything is removed from 7.0, we can say, because we don't need to go into HTML and understand the BSPs, as we have the configuration tool from 7.0. Then we also have a framework which is specifically built for web UI, which makes the developer's job easy, as we can build components using the framework. So you don't need to build a BSP component from scratch. When you are doing with the wizard or the BSP component workbench, the workbench will help you in doing a lot of things. Like in WEB Dynpro, they have developed many wizards for web UI as well. So from EHP 1, you have a lot of enhancements done in the framework, which will help you or the developer to build the application very quickly. So that's the major gap between WEB Dynpro and web UI, which is addressed properly by SAP by enhancing the framework and providing us a lot of wizards. So now we will have a look at the system and look at a BSP component and a WEB Dynpro component. So to open a BSP component or either a WEB Dynpro component, you need to go to the T code SCAT, which is also known as Object Browser. So when you are in SCAT, you have an option of BSP application over here, and likewise you also have an option of WEB Dynpro component. So first we will look at BSP application. Here you are able to see a name given HTMLB underscore samples. This is an application given by SAP for testing the HTMLB tags. So here you can see there are pages with flow logic. For example, here you can see about.htm. If you see this page, you can see that here everything is written in HTMLB tags, which are proprietary tags for SAP. So basically, whenever we do any kind of development in BSPs, in the plain BSPs, we will basically code in using the tags, and these tags are going to generate the HTML behind this page. So the HTMLB tag which you are seeing here will generate the HTML which the browser will understand. So likewise, you can see the button.htm. So if you need to test a particular page, you can right click on a particular page, then click test, which will open up the browser with the user interface. If you see this, it has an update button which opens up a pop-up on the click with this view which we are seeing over here. If you look at the coding behind this, you will find the plain tags which are written. So here on the client select, it is calling a function call submit, which is doing the work for us. So whatever you see here is basically the BSP coding which is done for normal BSPs, but when it comes to web UI, we have a configuration tool which will help us in designing the layouts. We'll see more about that in the upcoming classes. Now we will look at a WEB Dynpro component. So I'm opening a WEB Dynpro component. So ztest is a WEB Dynpro component which you can see. As I told you, WEB Dynpro doesn't have .htm. So if you open a particular view, you will not see anything in the layout. As we have discussed, WEB Dynpro will not have any coding in the layout part. As you can see here, the root UI element container is the parent container for all the UI elements over here. So you see tab underscore flights, which is the table. In that we have different elements again. So here you can see that tab underscore flights, basically it's a table. In that we have different columns where you have a text which is for holding the header text, and a box which is for holding the value at the runtime. Likewise, we have different columns over here. So if you look at the application which is built from this particular WEB Dynpro component, you can test it by right clicking the application. You can also see that every application will have a URL which you can also copy paste into the web browser directly. So here is the application which you are looking at. So here it's basically showing all the flight details in a table which we are seeing over here. So if you look at the UI, it's not as good as what we see in the BSPs. And when we go back to the BSP component which we were looking at, the major difference between WEB Dynpro and BSP here is when you look at the pages here, if you look at the properties of this page and scroll down a bit, you have a URL which is defined for this particular page, which means you can reach to this page individually. Whereas when you look at the WEB Dynpro component, if you take this view, here you don't have anything or any URL to reach to this particular view. So you have to reach to this particular view only through the WEB Dynpro application, because the WEB Dynpro application which we are looking at is MVC based, and that's the reason everything works through the application. Likewise, even the web UI components which we look at, which are built based on BSPs, are also based on MVC architecture, which means the BSP components which we built in the web UI framework are also MVC based. They also have views, they also have windows likewise. So the basic architecture which we use in WEB Dynpro and web UI are MVC based, and That's the reason we have a more flexibility in building the application in WebUI. Here we are combining the features of WEB Dynpro, which is the MVC architecture, along with the scripting, which is the feature of BSPs. So that's the reason we have more control over the layout and we can build more better applications in BSPs. The only con here is it will take a bit of time in BSPs, whereas in WEB Dynpro you can build it very quickly using drag and drop tools which are available for building the components. But as I discussed earlier, with WebUI wizards we can also overcome that difficulty and build the applications even faster in EHP1 and EHP2. Most of the wizards which are introduced in EHP1 are more powerful. The work which used to take one day before 7.0 is now taking around 1 hour. So that's the kind of wizards which we have in EHP1. So coming back to the content, so we have discussed the difference between WEB Dynpro and BSP. So the underlying technology which is used in web client or WebUI is BSP. So this is the user interface technology which we are going to deal with, but we might not need to understand the HTML coding which is involved behind the view. Said that, we'll talk about the evolution of web client user interface, which we have already discussed. So it started with PCUI when SAP came up with the product, or even before PCUI we had GUI. So in 4.0 we had PCUI or people centric user interface. Then in 5.0 we have IC web client or interaction center web client. So interaction center was the first application built on web client framework, and that had a major impact on customers and customers liked it. So that's the reason SAP had invested on the framework more and built the framework with more features. So once the product was successful in the market, they have built the whole CRM application in the same framework, and also parallelly they have enhanced the framework a lot, which had resulted in the framework which we are seeing it right now. So now they call it CRM web client, and sooner they will be calling it as SAP web client, as it is a cross application component now and it is available in ECC as well. So that's the history of web client user interface framework. So we will end this session with this note, and we would look at navigating in WebUI, what are the prerequisites of opening WebUI, the different terminology involved in WebUI in the next session. Thank you.